Hello, Namaskar, good evening. This is Balneet Singh Bedi. I welcome all of you to the daily news analysis session by Tathastu ICS. Let's start today's daily news analysis session. So under mains Manthan, we have two important news. The first one is related to the editorial on page number 8, and second news regarding one of the MLA who is ex-MLA of Rajasthan, and he has been convicted. So we will see that in detail as well. Now the first editorial, a China-led trilateral nexus as India's new challenge. Now this editorial is talking about the strategic trilateral partnership led by China involving Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh, and once they four are meeting together, it is putting some sort of implications for the regional cooperation and regional stability for India. So what new challenges it will create for India, because India is a neighbor to Afghanistan, it's a neighbor to Pakistan, it's a neighbor to Bangladesh, and definitely it's a neighbor to China. When all these four countries come together and do some sort of any sort of agreement, any sort of regional trade related agreement, any sort of agreement they do together, it would pose a challenge to India. So what should be the way forward for India in order to deal with Afghanistan? The famous foreign minister of Afghanistan, that is Amir Khan Muttaqi. Then Pakistan, Shehbaz Sharif. Of course, the relations with Pakistan has been more strained after the Pahalgam terror attack as well as Operation Sindoor. And then Bangladesh, the chief advisor of interim government, that is Mohammad Yunus, as well as China, that is Xi Jinping. So India, what should be the way forward for our country? Then comes the next. So what happened here is, there was a BJP MLA whose name is Kanwar Lal Meena. Kanwar Lal Meena. So he was convicted and sentenced for 3-year imprisonment in a 20-year-old criminal case, and because of this he has been asked to vacate his position, to vacate his office, and now he's seeking pardon from the governor of Rajasthan, that is Haribhau Bagade. That is Haribhau Bagade. So it was in news. Again, the news is not important. I'm just giving you a context why I'm covering this under mains Manthan, but we will be covering this from the perspective of UPSC. So we'll be covering the pardoning power of the president as well as the governor, the difference between both, and there is a very famous Supreme Court judgment in which the Supreme Court has highlighted the guiding principles of the pardoning power of the president. Then under prelims Sarthi, we have MM Hills Wildlife Sanctuary, that is Malai Mahadeshwar Wildlife Sanctuary. We will see where it is located. Is it a tiger reserve or not? If not, why? Because the government of Karnataka has declared that this will be declared as a tiger reserve soon, but it has not been declared. So again, it's in news today because of the tiger related population thing. Then the Kishan, Ganga and Rattal hydroelectric project, we have discussed this multiple times in previous DNAs. Again, it was in news due to the court of arbitration order. So we will quickly look at both these projects as well as the Indus Water Treaty, which has been suspended after the 22nd April terror attack in the Besaran Valley in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir. Now comes the first editorial, a China-led trilateral nexus as India's new challenge. Why in news? Again, I said trilateral partnership of China, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and you can also add here Bangladesh, right? So basically China is on one side and it is dealing with all these countries and creating problems for India, because ultimately they all are the immediate neighbors of India and they are trying to some sort to isolate India, and India can never harm Beijing's regional interest, because China knows These three countries are nowhere in the picture if we compare the economy of these three countries as well as China, but definitely India, which is more stable, more goal oriented and focusing with 146 CR people moving forward, also declared recently as the fourth largest economy of the world. It's a threat to China. Then syllabus part, it covers GS2, that is international relations. Now comes the first, trilateral meetings. I'll quickly read it for you. China, Pakistan and Bangladesh, Xi Jinping, Shehbaz Sharif and Mohammed Yunus, the chief advisor of the interim government. Again, he has announced that by next year, that is April or May 2026, we will see the democratic elections for the first time since the oust of Sheikh Hasina on 5th of August 2024. Held their first trilateral meeting in Kunming, China. Again, it could be a place in news. You need to know where Kunming is located. They could have been written in, consider the following pairs. They could write Japan, South Korea, and it is somewhat related, but it's located in China. There's also one very famous biodiversity convention took place in this region, in this city of China. So again, it's in news, it's important. Focused on strengthening cooperation and exploring deeper engagements, which I have mentioned it to you. This meeting follows another trilateral, that is China, Pakistan and Afghanistan, because they are expanding CPEC. CPEC is China-Pakistan Economic Corridor to Afghanistan as well, and once it expanded to Afghanistan, they will invest more in energy projects, more in infrastructure projects, as well as provide massive loans and investment in the Afghanistan region. As you can see the picture here as well, the three this is Amir Khan Muttaqi, the Foreign Minister of Afghanistan. This is Foreign Minister of Pakistan as well as the Foreign Minister of China, that is Wang Yi, right? So again, they all are meeting together, and that would have serious implications, the regional security implications for India as well, right? Then we will see the historical context. After 1962 India-China war, it has shaped the relation between China and Pakistan. If I tell you about 1963, we all have known about the boundary agreement in which Pakistan has ceded Shaksgam Valley with China, and this is a part of India, which we call them as Pakistan Occupied Kashmir, famously known as POK region, right? So China saw Pakistan as an ally, all-weather friend, all-weather ally, iron brother, because China knows jab tak Pakistan mere haath mein hai, because Pakistan economy is under ruins, all they need is money. अगर इनका कोई भी लीडर बाहर इंटरनेशनल ट्रिप पे जाता है, so that international trip is incomplete without asking for loans, without asking for money, right? They need money to survive, to keep India engaged with immediate threats and limit its challenge to challenge the Beijing regional interest. We have recently seen as well in the Operation Sindoor, when Pakistan attacked India, we could have depicted the drones, the weapons which Pakistan is using. They were using JF-17 fighter jets, they were using MBT 2000 tanks, right? MBT 2000 tanks, JF-17 fighter jets. Who is supplying them? It is none other than China. China is supplying, are responsible for 80% of the arms import to Pakistan. As per whom? As per SIPRI report. So Pakistan is heavily dependent on China for its imports, for its arms, for its economy running, because China is also investing a lot in the Balochistan province, and we all have seen the Baloch Liberation Army, the separatists, the extremists. They are demanding some sort of independence from the Pakistan region as well. So Pakistan has been highly dependent on China for military support, infrastructure, economic assistance. This billion loan has been given by China by the end of 2024. Again, one more fact I tell you, Pakistan is the most bailed out country in the world. Pakistan is the most bailed out country in the world. As per whom? As per IMF. Recently they have taken 25th bailout from the IMF, right? Including this billion loan from China, over 80% of Pakistan's arms import from China. I have discussed all these points in detail. Then we will see next China's support for Pakistan. It has shielded Pakistan-based terrorists at the United Nations Security Council. We all know about Masood Azhar. Even his brother, that is Abdul Rauf Azhar. Right, India is saying please declare them as UN designated global terrorist, but again and again China is stopping because of its veto power and the permanent member of United Nations Security Council. It is not allowing all of these to be there as the US designated global terrorist. Right, during the India Operation Sindoor, China condemned India's retaliation against Pakistan, urging dialogue and taking side of the Pakistan. So basically they believe that India is the aggressor and not the victim. They forget that Pakistan is the aggressor and India is the victim. India did not do anything, rather Pakistan sent their terrorists across the border to conduct the terror related incidents in the Pahalgam, right? Then we will see the next, the resurfacing strategic ideas, the idea of using a +1 strategy against India involving regional countries like Nepal, Bangladesh emerged during 1965 India-Pakistan war and resurfaced now with China and Pakistan attempting to limit the India's influence in the region. Beta pehle to hamara ek enemy tha, that is Pakistan. Now China is also there. So both the enemies coming together and trying to isolate India at all levels. They are trying to isolate India by shaking hands with Afghanistan, shaking hands with Nepal, shaking hands with Bangladesh, right? And China and Pakistan are pushing to draw Bangladesh and Afghanistan into their orbit, especially after regime change. Bangladesh, you all know, Sheikh Hasina was the elected Prime Minister. After that, Mohammad Yunus has taken as the interim chief advisor of the interim government, of the caretaker government. And Afghanistan, we all know earlier the rule was of Hamid Karzai, but after the dramatic change and Taliban took over, the relations have deteriorated. But again, our diplomatic channels have opened. Presently they are in words through the diplomatic channels, through the dialogues, through the deliberations with Afghanistan, and we are trying to figuring out how we can better our relations with the Taliban, especially after regime changes in both countries, aiming to counter India's growing influence, particularly in the Afghanistan region. Then we will see the next, that is impact of India's retaliation. India has shown robust response to the Pakistan sponsored terrorism. They are talking about where we have attacked 9 terror camps in Pakistan, and including military strikes, diplomatic actions such as halting trade and the suspension of Indus Water Treaty. Here it is also talking about 2016 Uri surgical strike and 2019 Balakot air strike, and 2025 that is Operation Sindoor, right? So all these are the examples of how India is retaliating to the Pakistan sponsored terrorism. India's diplomatic and military responses, especially to Chinese border intrusions in the Doklam and Galwan Valley clashes, has surprised the Beijing, because India has increased the border infrastructure as well as deployment of the troops in these areas, because these areas are very, very sensitive, and India has given a befitting reply to China. Challenges to China's regional influence. Maldives, Mohammed Mizu, again he is showing lot of interest for the India's economy. In Nepal, despite the BRI initiative, there are unresolved financial issues and progress has been slow, because we all know China believes in, as I've said many times, debt trap diplomacy. It also believes in economic imperialism, as well as Sri Lanka. President Anura Kumara Dissanke has also shown, or has also reiterated, that he wants good relations with India in all possible aspects, right? Earlier the government was pro-China, but the present government in Sri Lanka is the pro-India. And even after the 6th BIMSTEC summit in Thailand, our Prime Minister has visited Sri Lanka for a 2-day visit. Then comes the Bangladesh. While cautious, has seen increased engagements with Pakistan as it shifts its the regional alliances. Again, it's talking about the Mohammed Yunus government. Then Pakistan's growing role in regional security. The trilateral could make Pakistan a relevant player in South Asia, potentially fostering the cross-border terrorism as well as the security challenges. Now, Pakistan is the global epicenter of terrorism. Now, once they rooted Taliban, they supported Taliban in Afghanistan, and now when Taliban has took over Afghanistan, they are not listening to Pakistan, or they are not listening to Islamabad, as they are working as per their own whims and fancies. And Taliban has given birth to Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, whose main aim is to overthrow the administration in Islamabad and took over in the state government. Now this same terrorist organization which Pakistan has supported is creating lot of problem for Pakistan, especially the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, because this is the province which shares majority of its border with Afghanistan. And from Afghanistan, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan coming in the Pakistan region, doing all sort of terrorist attack, going back to Afghanistan and creating problems for the Pakistan country. Then the nexus between China and Pakistan could create new complexities in the regional security dynamics, drawing India's neighbor closer to their orbit. Again, it will complicate the already peaceful structure of the South Asian region, but Pakistan is creating ruckus by shaking hands with China, and then both the enemies, that is China and Pakistan, coming together and showing handful of fruits to the Bangladesh, to Nepal as well as Afghanistan, and that would have serious implications for India. Then comes the next news, that is about the pardoning power of the president and governor. Again, I have not mentioned the main headline. The headline is convicted ex-MLA of BJP seeks governor's pardon, state government's opinion sought, right? So ex-MLA, I've told you, this is Kanwal Lal Meena. He's asking for the pardon from the Rajasthan governor, that is Haribao Bagade, right? So Rajasthan MLA seeking pardon from governor covers syllabus GS2 Indian polity. Now comes the key takeaways. The first slide talks about the Article 72 of the Constitution of India. So basically here, Article 72 and Article 161. Now Article 72 empowers the President of India, and Article 161 empowers the governor of the state to issue the pardoning power to the persons who have been sentenced or convicted. So both these articles you need to know. So Article 72 of the Constitution empowers the President to grant pardon to the person who have been tried and convicted of any offences in all cases where sentence is for an offence against a union law, या फिर कोई ऐसी पनिशमेंट दी हो, कोई ऐसी सेंटेंस दी हो जो कि कोर्ट मार्शल या मिलिट्री कोर्ट ने दी हो, वहां पे प्रेसिडेंट कैन इंटरवीन एंड पार्डन दी कन्विक्टेड. एंड लास्ट, वेयर सेंटेंस इज द डेथ sentence. Again, we will see all of this in detail in this slide. If I just sum up, Article 72 empowers the President and Article 161 empowers the Governor of the state to grant pardon. Now here Article 72 when empowers the President under three situations: if the sentence or punishment has been given against the union law, the second when the punishment and sentence is being given by the court martial or the military court, and the last when there is a death sentence. We will see this in detail in the third slide. Then comes the next, that is pardoning power of the President. Now first comes is pardon. Now what is pardon? These all are the static part of Indian polity, and you all must be knowing it's covered very excellently in Lakshmi Kant. So what is pardon? Pardon basically means to remove both the sentence as well as conviction and absolve the convict from all sentences, from all convictions, from all sentences, and from all the disqualifications. For example, a person who has been given life imprisonment under the TADA Act and under the humanitarian appeal, he has been pardoned by the President. I am giving you a hypothetical example. Then comes the next, that is commutation. So basically commutation means substitution of one form of punishment into the lighter form. So for example, if someone has been given a death sentence, so that death sentence be reduced to a life imprisonment or a rigorous imprisonment, right? Then comes the third, that is remission. Now remission means reducing the period of the sentence without changing its character. For example, if someone has given a life imprisonment of 14 years, that might be reduced to 3 years, 4 years. For example, even on the Independence Day, 15th of August 2022, when the entire country was celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, most of the prisoners have been remitted under the remission policy. Then comes the fourth one, that is respite. Now what does this mean? Due to some special fact, reducing the period of the sentence. For example, if there is a pregnant woman who is in prison, so again her sentences could be reduced. Once she delivers the baby, she can complete the imprisonment post delivery. Or there is a person whose age and whose health is very much deteriorated, he or she cannot be carried on with all of their duties in the jail, so again they can be respite under that as well. Then last comes reprieve. Reprieve means stay on the execution of the convict, stay on the execution. For example, we have Yaqub Menon case. Though he has been executed, but just hours before execution, he reprieved to the Supreme Court. But thankfully, Supreme Court responded at a very short pace of time and rejected his reprieved orders and order for its execution, and finally he was being executed. But this is, I'm just trying to tell you that all these are being exercised by the people in various cases, right? Then we will see the next, that is the pardoning power of the governor, how it differs from the President. Now the first point here, the president can pardon sentences. Again, see, if there is a military court which is giving sentence or which is convicting an individual, military court की सेंटेंस को पार्डन करने की पावर सिर्फ प्रेसिडेंट के पास है, गवर्नर हैज नो पावर इन दैट. सेकंड, अगर डेथ सेंटेंस यूनियन लॉ के अगेंस्ट मिलती है या स्टेट लॉ के अगेंस्ट मिलती है, डेथ सेंटेंस कैन ओनली बी पार्डन बाय प्रेसिडेंट. गवर्नर कैन नॉट पार्डन अ डेथ सेंटेंस. आई एम रिपीटिंग, गवर्नर कैन नॉट पार्डन अ डेथ सेंटेंस एंड गवर्नर कैन नॉट पार्डन अ सेंटेंस वेयर द कोर्ट मार्शल हैज गिवन और द मिलिट्री कोर्ट हैज गिवन. सो प्रेसिडेंट कैन पार्डन sentences inflicted by court martial or military courts while governor cannot. Then president can pardon death sentence while governor cannot. अगर कोई state law भी डेथ सेंटेंस को प्रिस्क्राइब करता है, उसकी पावर सिर्फ प्रेसिडेंट के पास है, ना कि गवर्नर के पास. However, governor can suspend, remit, commute. Again, the president and governor have the concurrent power in respect of suspension, remission and commutation of the death sentence, but pardoning death sentence is only the power of the president and not the governor. Then comes the next, that is Supreme Court has examined the pardoning power of the president under a very famous case, that is Kehar Singh case versus Union of India 1989. Under this case, it has laid down following principles. Now the first principle says कि अगर कोई भी petitioner है जिसको mercy चाहिए, जिसको pardon चाहिए, he is not eligible for any sort of oral hearing. Oral hearing, that president is sitting here and he is standing there and he is saying please please आप मुझे pardon दे दो, that is not there. Oral hearing नहीं होगी. Then second, it can examine the president can examine the evidence from all the fresh perspective, but it can also take the views which has not been considered by the court. Then third, it to be exercised by the president. It's not a discretionary power of the president. President has to act on the aid and advice of the union cabinet. This is very, very important. I will tell you why this is important. Then there is no need for the Supreme Court to lay specific guidelines for the exercise of the powers by the president. See बेटा, अगर Supreme Court guidelines ही फाइल कर देता है प्रेसिडेंट के लिए, तो it would somehow reduced the suffocates the power of the president, and president cannot act on his own advice. Then exercise of power by the president is subject to judicial review except the presidential decision is arbitrary, irrational, malefied or discriminatory. Now both these points, the fifth point as well as the third point, UPSC framed a very beautiful question in 2025 prelims. Right from these 2 points, they have not asked it directly, but they have mentioned it. So I'm giving you 2 minutes to solve this question now. Quickly solve this question. Yeah, it's a PYQ from the year 2025. Quickly solve this question, everyone. So basically consider the following statements with regard to the pardoning power of the president. It can be subjected to limited judicial review. Absolutely right statement. As I've told you, अगर प्रेसिडेंट का कोई भी डिसीजन आर्बिट्रेरी है, मैलिफाइड है, इरैशनल है, तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट कैन इंटरवीन एंड सब्जेक्टेड टू जुडिशियल रिव्यू. देन second statement says the president can exercise this power without the advice of the central government. This is wrong. As I've just told you, union cabinet ki permission is mandatory for the president to act and advise on the aid and advice of the union cabinet. So correct answer is only one here, right? Then under prelim Sarthi we have again, this is their center orders probe into tiger deaths at MM Hills Wildlife Sanctuary in Karnataka. Now MM Hills stands for Malai Mahadeshwar Wildlife Sanctuary, right? Malai Mahadeshwar Wildlife Sanctuary. Again, where it is located in Karnataka, right? It was meant to be declared as a tiger reserve, but it has not been declared. Government has not declared it so far. But agar ye declare ho jati hai tiger reserve, then there would be total 6 tiger reserves in Karnataka. So first is, we'll quickly revise. First is Nagarhole, then we have Bandipur, then we have Bhadra, then we have Biligiri, Ranganatha Tiger Reserve, right? Nagarhole, Bandipur, Bhadra, Biligiri, Ranganatha, and then we have Anshi Dandeli Tiger Reserve, right? If it's been declared, then it would be Malai Mahadeshwar Hills Wildlife Sanctuary or the Tiger Reserve. Which are the rest tiger reserves? I have told you, it is contiguous to Satyamangalam Tiger Reserve, Kaveri Wildlife Sanctuary, as well as Biligiri Ranganatha Tiger Reserve. That means this wildlife sanctuary covers these 3 parts as well. See, the Western Ghat region, the Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu region is very rich in biodiversity. There are n number of wildlife sanctuaries, national parks and biosphere reserves, which all combined together, they are contiguous to various or adjacent to various regions. Then comes the Kishan, Ganga and Rattal hydroelectric project. Again, Kishan Ganga project, it is built on the which river? It's built on the Jhelum river. And when we talk about Rattal, it is on the Chenab river. Kishan Ganga river located on Kishan Ganga, tributary of Jhelum. Pakistan objected, claiming water diversion for power generation violates the IWT. Here the headline says, reject supplemental award on Kishan Ganga Rattal hydropower project. So we have revised this multiple times. We are just quickly going through the same. Then comes the Rattal hydroelectric project, runoff river water project on Chenab river in Jammu and Kashmir. India's excessive control over the river. We'll quickly see the Indus Water Treaty here. Distribution of waters, India and Pakistan in this water treaty signed on 19th of September 1960 between the Ayub Khan as well as the Indian Prime Minister, India's President. Then partition of India, cut in this river basin plus 5 of its main tributaries. The western rivers, that is ICJ, went with Pakistan, and BRS, that is Beas, Ravi, Satluj, in this chain of Jhelum with India. India's right over these rivers, all exclusive rights lie with India, and here India has right over these rivers but very limited rights. So what sort of right it has? Only for the domestic use, non-consumptive use, and all are subjected to various conditions, right? This is the map. Again, once every 5 years they used to conduct some sort of inspection. In total 100 inspections have been done till so far, regulates meeting in a year and all of that, but all of now, if we talk about today, it is suspended after the Pahalgam terror attack by the Pakistan. So I'll be sharing this PDF with you on the Telegram group. You all can join the Telegram group and get access to all the DNA PDF that are being discussed in the class. With this, I conclude today's daily news analysis session. Hope to see all of you on Monday. Till that time, study well, give your best, be disciplined, be consistent. Thank you so much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Thank you.